Jessica had always considered herself a reasonably social person. She could navigate a work happy hour, make small talk at a family reunion, and even enjoy a loud night out with her best friend, Chloe. But lately, a quiet sense of disconnection had been nagging at her. It was the feeling of scrolling through hundreds of friends online yet feeling oddly lonely, of having conversations that felt more like an exchange of monologues than a true connection. It was Chloe, of course, who decided to do something about it. Chloe was a force of nature, a whirlwind of curiosity and boldness who believed all of life's problems could be solved by trying something new. "You're in a rut, Jess," she declared one Tuesday evening, flopping onto Jessica's couch. "It's the same coffee shop, the same Netflix shows, the same conversations about the weather. We need a system reset." Jessica sighed, putting down her book. "And what form will this system reset take? Hot yoga, a pottery class?" "Better," Chloe said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "We're going to a club called the Prism." The name sounded innocuous enough. "A new nightclub." "Chloe, I don't think I have the energy for deafening music and overpriced drinks." "It's not that kind of club," Chloe said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "It's a social experiment. I heard about it from Mark in my marketing class. He said it's life-changing. It's all about genuine human interaction. No phones, no small talk. Just real connection." Jessica was skeptical. "That sounds like a cult. Or one of those awkward corporate team-building exercises." "It's not a cult, I promise," Chloe laughed. "It's a private, members-only club for one night. They're very strict about rules. It's completely safe and, from what I hear, incredibly profound." "Come on, Jess. What's the worst that could happen? We have a weird story to tell." Against her better judgment, and fueled by that underlying thirst for something real, Jessica agreed. The following Saturday night, they found themselves standing in front of an unassuming, sleek black door in a part of the city they rarely visited. There was no flashy sign, just a small, discreet geometric symbol that resembled a cut gemstone next to an intercom. Chloe gave their names, the door clicked open, and they stepped inside. The first thing they noticed was the silence. It wasn't an empty silence, but a soft, expectant hush. The lighting was warm and indirect, casting a golden glow on textured walls. A graceful host named Eleanor, dressed in simple, elegant linen, greeted them. She had a calming presence. "Welcome to the Prism," she said, her voice as serene as the atmosphere. "Your journey tonight is about perception. The first rule: all personal electronic devices must be secured here." She gestured to a wall of small, locked boxes. "The second rule: you may not speak until you are in a designated dialogue space. The third, and most important rule: enter with an open mind and leave all judgments at the door." Feeling a mix of trepidation and intrigue, Jessica and Chloe placed their phones in the boxes. The act felt strangely liberating, like unshackling a weight she didn't know she was carrying. They were then led into the main chamber of the Prism, and Jessica caught her breath. The space was breathtaking. It was designed like a geometric garden, with various partitioned areas created by flowing, semi-transparent fabrics and living walls of lush greenery. The air smelled faintly of sandalwood and rain. Soft, ambient music woven with natural sounds, a trickling stream, a gentle wind, filled the air. People moved through the space quietly, their footsteps muffled by thick, plush carpeting. Everyone wore simple, provided robes in neutral tones over their clothes, further dissolving the barriers of social status and fashion. Chloe squeezed Jessica's hand, her eyes wide with amazement. This was nothing like either of them had imagined. Eleanor explained the process. "You are now in the Gallery of Whispers. Here, you may observe. When you feel ready, you may enter one of the connection rooms. Each room is designed for a different mode of interaction. Some are for shared activities in silence, like collaborative painting. Others are for structured dialogue. Remember, the goal is not to impress, but to express. Not to hear, but to listen." Jessica and Chloe decided to start by simply walking through the Gallery of Whispers. They passed a room where two people were silently building an intricate structure from smooth, wooden blocks, their communication happening entirely through eye contact and gestures. In another, a small group was seated on cushions, engaging in what looked like a guided meditation on empathy. They paused at the entrance to a room called the Chamber of Mirrors. Inside, the walls were lined with panels that were not quite mirrors, but slightly distorted reflective surfaces. Two people sat facing each other, not speaking, simply looking, first at their own reflection, then at the other person's. "It's about seeing yourself, and then seeing the person in front of you," Chloe murmured, the concept striking a deep chord within Jessica. They moved on and found themselves drawn to a space called the Dialogue Nook. It was a small, circular room with a comfortable bench for two. A simple placard explained the rule: the talking stone. One person holds the stone and speaks for 3 minutes, uninterrupted. The other simply listens. Then, you switch. Let's try this one, Jessica said, surprising herself with her own initiative. She felt a strange courage blooming in this quiet, intentional space. They entered the nook and sat down. A smooth, river stone sat on a small pedestal between them. Chloe picked it up first. Okay, she said, a nervous smile playing on her lips. 3 minutes of just me talking. Don't make this weird. She took a deep breath. I've been so stressed about finishing my degree. I feel like I'm pretending to be an adult, and any day now, everyone is going to find out I'm just a kid who has no idea what she's doing. I'm scared I'll choose the wrong career path and be stuck. And, I worry that I come on too strong sometimes, that my enthusiasm pushes people away, even you. Jessica listened, truly listened. She heard the vulnerability behind Chloe's confident facade, a fear she had never so openly admitted. When the soft chime signaled the end of her time, Chloe passed the stone to Jessica. Jessica's heart hammered in her chest. Holding the cool stone felt like holding a responsibility. I feel disconnected a lot, she began, her voice soft. From my job, from my friends, even from myself. I have these conversations where I'm planning what to say next instead of hearing what's being said to me. I'm so worried about how I'm being perceived that I forget to just be. And sometimes, Chloe, your energy is a lot, but it's also what I love most about you. It pulls me out of my own head. You never have to worry about that. Tears welled in Chloe's eyes. In the silence of their listening, a deeper layer of their friendship had been acknowledged and fortified. The 3-minute rule had forced a level of honesty that years of casual hangouts had not. Emboldened by their experience, they decided to split up for a while, agreeing to meet back at the entrance in an hour. Jessica felt a pull toward the chamber of mirrors. She entered and was paired with an older man named Robert. They sat facing the distorted mirrors. The instruction was simple. Spend 1 minute looking at your own reflection, then 2 minutes looking at your partner. Looking at herself, Jessica saw the familiar critic, the slight frown line, the way her hair never quite lay right. But in the gentle warp of the mirror, those details softened. She just saw a woman, waiting. Then, she turned her gaze to Robert. He had kind, tired eyes and silver hair at his temples. She wasn't allowed to speak, so she just observed. She noticed the laugh lines around his eyes, the thoughtful set of his mouth, the slight slump in his shoulders that spoke of a long-carried weight. She wasn't just seeing a stranger, she was witnessing a human being, with a full and complex life she knew nothing about. And she realized he was doing the same for her. He wasn't judging her appearance, he was simply seeing her. The experience was profoundly peaceful. Later, she found herself in a room for shared creation, sitting with a woman named Maria. They were given a large canvas and paints. Without a word, they began to paint together. It started as a mess of separate colors, but slowly, an unspoken collaboration emerged. Jessica would add a blue swirl, and Maria would answer with a splash of gold next to it. They created something beautiful and chaotic together, a silent conversation in color and form. When Jessica and Chloe reunited at the end of the night, collecting their phones, they were quiet. The usual urge to immediately check their devices was absent. They walked out into the cool night air, the sounds of the city feeling jarring after the hush of the Prism. They went to a quiet, all-night diner, sliding into a vinyl booth. The clatter of plates and the hum of conversation felt different. I don't even know what to say, Chloe finally said, stirring her hot chocolate. That was intense, Jessica finished, but in a good way. A necessary way. I talked to a woman who had just lost her mother, Chloe shared. We didn't even use the talking stone. We just sat and shared a pot of tea in silence for 20 minutes. And I felt like I understood her more than some people I've known for years. Jessica nodded. I realized how rarely I actually look at people. I mean, really look at them. I'm always thinking about what I look like, or what I'm going to say next. I'm never just present. The experience at the Prism didn't solve all of Jessica's problems. She still had the same job, the same apartment, the same life. But something fundamental had shifted inside her. The filter through which she saw the world had been cleaned. The changes were subtle but significant. On her Monday morning commute, instead of burying her face in her phone, she looked at the faces around her. She saw the tired father gently soothing his baby, the young student nervously reviewing flashcards, the elderly couple holding hands. They were no longer just obstacles in her path, they were stories. During team meetings at work, she practiced listening, not just waiting for her turn to talk, but truly absorbing what her colleagues were saying. She noticed the unspoken anxieties and the quiet enthusiasms. Her responses became more thoughtful, her connections more genuine. With Chloe, their friendship deepened. They instituted a no phones at dinner rule and found themselves having the kinds of conversations they'd had in the dialogue nook, vulnerable, honest, and strengthening. The Prism had been a laboratory for the human soul. It had removed all the noise, the digital distractions, the social performances, the pressure of witty banter, and left only the essential, beautiful, and often scary core of human connection, presence, vulnerability, and active listening. It taught Jessica that the most life-changing experiences aren't always about grand gestures or dramatic events. Sometimes, they are about rediscovering a simple, profound truth that was there all along, that we all crave to be truly seen and heard. And that the greatest gift we can give another person, and ourselves, is our full, unfiltered attention. The club hadn't been an escape from reality, it had been a masterclass in how to engage with it more deeply. And for that lesson, Jessica knew she would be forever grateful.